8 Degrees of Nope, written by LunaBrony. You never know what's going to happen in a place like Equestria. Ponies, and to a minor extent dragons, woke up every day not knowing what the particular day might bring, and anything was possible. A market vendor might show up for work one day, only to find that his stall has been turned into a replica made out of pudding. Or a pony might show up to a best friend's house, only to find that the friend in question has been turned into an antelope. Every day was a new adventure, and for the most part, all adventures were welcomed. Of all the normal everyday events that occurred in Ponyville, many seemed, at first, not so normal. At least, to an outsider anyway. One such example was the endless bouncing back and forth of a bright pink mare, who seemingly never ran out of energy. The mare in question bounced past several other ponies at breakneck speeds, all of whom saw fit to look up from what they were doing, and all, in turn, received a warm greeting.
Hi, Cannon Shot! Hi, Cherry Springs! Hi, Waffle Iron!
This last bit wasn't directed at any pony in particular, but an actual metal waffle iron, for the fear that would have felt left out. "Where are you going in such a rush, Pinkie?" a young stallion asked.
To Fluttershy's house!
She called, barely slowing down.
She said she needed my help, and a true friend always helps a friend in need.
With that, she was gone around the corner, leaving the stallion puzzled as to why her words sounded so familiar. Must have been a dream or something. Pinkie hurried up the long path to the cottage, and knocked twice before letting herself in, perks of being a friend and all.
Flatterbot! I'm here! What you need?
She was more than happy to help a friend in need, even though sometimes she couldn't always return the favor. It simply wasn't something she expected them to do anymore, although she fully believed that the act of kindness itself was its own reward. Speaking of such, relief flooded over the face of the element of kindness, as a desperate plea for help during a necessary last-minute outing.
Oh, thank you.
Fluttershy gushed again, rushing about her cottage to throw various small items into a suitcase. None of the items seemed to make all that much sense in terms of consistency, ranging from a rubber chicken to a wine glass to a small-scale model of a farm.
Are you sure you need all these things?
Pinkie asked. She wasn't normally the one to question things that didn't make sense, but certainly in the case of Fluttershy, it was unexpected.
Oh yes, I received a scroll early this morning that a rare laughing hyena had stopped laughing, and I have to go to the Canterlot Zoo and try to cheer it up.
She explained.
Most of my animals are already cared for in short-term situations like this, but I can't account for all of them, and I absolutely need your help. You were so good at foal-sitting that one time, and you've been such a good friend in the past. I knew I could count on you.
Oh, I do love your animals. What do you need help with today? A seal? A lion? A tiger? A bear?
Oh my!
Fluttershy squeaked.
I wouldn't put one of my friends in charge of something so dangerous. I just need you to watch my tarantula.
All at once, Pinkie's bright and cheerful world absolutely shattered, and soon she felt her mane go through several levels of deflation.
What?
My tarantula. Her name is Ida.
The Pegasus was completely casual about this, as if she had no idea she was keeping a minion of death in her house. Pinkie suddenly suspected that there was perhaps a reason why every pony else had turned down Fluttershy's request. Pinkie's voice cracked. She would have preferred the lion.
Oh, Fluttershy, I don't know if I can...
And I'm just so grateful that you said you could help. I don't know what I could have done otherwise. You were my last hope, and I'm just so happy you were available. Honest.
Pinkie soon forced a smile.
Of course.
Wonderful.
Fluttershy said, moving over to push the cage forward. It was covered with a cloth, and Pinkie saw no reason to remove the said cloth.
This is Ida, and she's very sweet. She just needs a lot of attention and doesn't like being left alone. She feeds herself, but she gets very upset when I'm away.
She feeds herself? As in, she gets out?
Pinkie asked. She really didn't like the sound of that, but at the very least was grateful that she didn't have to feed it.
Well, of course she gets out, silly. But you have to let her out and watch her very closely. I wouldn't want anything to happen to her.
Pinkie tried to open her mouth to say something, but Fluttershy gasped and cut her off.
But I'm...
Oh, I'm going to miss my train. You'll do very well, Pinkie. I know you will.
And picking up her suitcase, she raced out the door. Fluttershy really was in a hurry, and in moments had left poor Pinkie behind.
Afraid of spiders?
Pinkie finished, finding herself now alone with the demon spawn Fluttershy had put under her care. There was absolutely no way this was going to end well. Standing alone in the middle of Fluttershy's cottage with this thing, The first order of business was to get it back to Sugar Cube Corner. As much as Pinkie wanted nothing to do with it, Fluttershy was counting on her, but so were the cakes. She was going to have to compromise. Pinkie managed to bring around a small wagon that Fluttershy often used for carrying animals, and carefully picked up the small covered cage, placing it in the wagon. She placed several rocks on top of the cloth, as she didn't want to look at the spider, nor so much as she wanted to be reminded that it was there. With that accomplished, it was a simple task to pull the wagon back to the bakery. The cage fit the wagon easily, so there was absolutely no chance it would tip over. After a significant amount of work, the cage made it to the lower level of Sugar Cube Corner. Pinkie then went about her work, trying not to give a spider another thought. Icing cupcakes, finishing orders, and baking bread, a reasonable number of hours had passed before she finally gave in.
Alright, enough's enough. Fluttershy is counting on me,
she said to herself. Pinkie, Mrs. K called from the other room. We are closing for the day. Make sure you lock up when you leave, alright?
I know,
Pinkie called.
Don't worry, I'm just going to finish this order and I'll be all done.
Such a good worker. Mrs. Cake sounded pleased. Thank you, Pinkie. And shortly after was a jingle of the front door, opening and closing. And then, silence.
Oh.
Pinkie sighed and put away the last of the decorating kits, before making her way to the storage room where she placed her cage. It remained exactly where she left it. The cover was still closed.
Just a spider. Nothing to be afraid of,
Pinkie said, gradually removing the cover. With the rocks removed, she took a deep breath and whipped off the covering, and stared at an empty cage.
I don't understand. I put weights on the lid.
Pinkie was horrified. She inspected the cage further, which she probably should have done in the first place, and realized that the lid was, in fact, a door on the side of the cage. The weights over the top had been completely useless.
The spider is missing,
she hissed.
The spider is missing. Spider missing. Spider missing.
With this horrific realization, her hair began to fall flat. Her bouncy curls were gone, her hair fallen straight across her face, and her pupils dilated.
Gotta find spider,
she hissed, and flipped over a nearby bucket.
Nope.
She turned the bucket back upside down again, and waited a moment or two before flipping it over again.
Still nope.
From there, the search was on. Pinkie panically flipped over all sorts of items, no matter how small or unlikely, racing around Sugar Cube Corner like a tornado in an attempt to find the missing arachnid. A table was overturned. No spider. A carpet was pulled up. No spider. A cabinet was completely emptied. No spider. Pinkie was beside herself, and the more she thought about it, the worse the situation became. By the time she had finished with the unfortunate bakery, it looked like as if a hurricane had hit the bakery. The cakes were not going to like this.
Okay, Pinkie. Calm down. Calm down,
she muttered to herself, her eye twitching.
It's just a spider. A spider that doesn't belong to you. A spider that eats other living things. Well, if that crawling arachnid is coming after me, it's my job to come after her first.
She smiled.
Yes. Fluttershy will understand. It's an act of self-defense. She said herself that spider has to feed. And if it has a right to feed, then I have to deny its feeding. But how to do it? It's small and easily escapes most traps. I'll have to plan this carefully.
She looked around the kitchen for inspiration for any source of a spider killer, and her eyes eventually fell upon the regulation fire extinguisher above the oven.
Of course.
A wide grin spread across Pinkie's face as she was hit with the inspiration she was looking for.
That'll work.
Taking the fire extinguisher, she began to smash it wildly against various items, the idea being that she would destroy the spider before it could destroy her. Even that only lasted a few minutes, before the extinguisher exploded, following a particularly harsh smack, and sent her reeling backwards.
Kill you.
Pinkie muttered.
Kill, die!
She cracked another devious smile.
Pinkie, into battle, go!
She took a lighter from the counter, the reflection of the flames dancing in her eyes. There were so many flammable things around, so many deliciously flammable things.
It's go time, spider. Let's do this.
As Pinkie poured spurts of gasoline all over the interior of Sugar Coop Corner, she was certainly not in the greatest of mental states. All she could think about was ridding the world of that awful arachnid. And just when she thought she talked herself out of burning the place down, she had another vision of the spider slowly crawling over her body while she slept, hiding in the shadows to feed. Pinkie had brief flashes of vivid imagery as the gasoline soaked into the floors of the bakery. The look on Fluttershy's face upon learning that her spider had an unfortunate accident. The trauma she was going to cause the poor cakes upon losing their beloved bakery, followed by joy as they realized how many bits they were going to get out of their insurance policy. Strange blue crystals and volumetric beakers. No way. That was somepony else. The gasoline containers were emptied and cast aside, the entire place filling with the nauseating stench of fumes. She had to act fast. Pinkie had a wild grin on her face as she struck a lighter, the dancing flames reflected in her dilated pupils.
Time to play, Ida,
she whispered, before throwing the lighter down upon the floor. Fire sprang up instantly, spreading in all directions, crackling and consuming everything in its path. It had no restrictions, and Pinkie was standing in the middle of it.
No getting away now.
She gave a devious smile, but her smile quickly faded as a small bit of rational reasoning came through.
I should probably get out of here.
Diving through an increasingly high wall of flames, Pinkie twisted and turned. She didn't seem to be able to fully comprehend her position, and finds herself right in the middle of a raging inferno. Every breath she took hurt her lungs, and the smoke stung her eyes. Pinkie pounded on the wall, inching her way towards the front door.
Gotta get out.
The smoke was having a strange effect on her, and ever so slightly her hair was beginning to curl again.
Maybe I overreacted just a little bit.
She finally made her way to the front door, but found her passage blocked by flames.
Hey! Hey! Let me out!
No ponies seemed to be around, at least not any that she could tell, but she could hear the wailing of sirens in the distance. After a few minutes, a small voice spoke to her from the other side of the door.
Hello? Is some pony in there?
Yes! Yes! Let me out!
Pinkie screamed. This certainly didn't seem like a good idea anymore.
Stand back!
The voice yelled, and Pinkie stumbled backwards. The sharp blade of an axe slammed through the door, and it only took a few strikes before the door was crumpled inward. Pinkie soon leaped through the flames, her fall softened by the yelp of a small body underneath her. Nearby, a gray Pegasus came running towards them with a small bucket of water. The Pegasus threw a small bucket of water into the flames. It did absolutely no help.
Nailed it!
As far as Pinkie was concerned, she was now laying on top of a squeaking yellow pony.
Was I in your way? I'm sorry.
Fluttershy was covered in black suit and grim, and had the pink party pony pinned underneath her. The fog in Pinkie's mind had finally lifted, and her breathing was slowly regulating.
Fluttershy?
She asked, her voice filled with uncertainty and confusion. A small crowd had gathered, all drawn to the burning bakery and pouring flames.
I thought you were supposed to be in Nebraska.
No more puns. I got all the way down there and realized I knew nothing about laughter or hyenas.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
And on top of all that, on the carriage, look who I found.
With a waving flourish, she produced the biggest tarantula Pinkie had ever seen, and then later shrieked and jumped backwards.
What is that?
It's my spider Ida.
What?
Fluttershy smiled softly.
She was with me the whole time. The poor thing must not have wanted me to leave her alone, so she hid in my suitcase. And to think I made you worry about all that for nothing. I hope I didn't cause you too much trouble.
Framed by the flaming remains of the bakery, Pinkie's hair slowly started to deflate again.
No trouble at all. But Fluttershy,
Yes?
never ask me to watch that spider again. I'm, busy.
She was really a terrible liar, but Fluttershy didn't seem to notice.
Oh, that's okay. Maybe next time you can look after my pet shark. You can... Pinkie?
Looking around, Fluttershy suddenly found herself completely alone.
How does she do that?
She soon looked around, but saw nothing other than the towering flames from the bakery. No matter, everything will be fixed by next week. Ponyville was funny like that. The end. Hello, Ray Pony. Snogwritts here. Hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, be sure to leave a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more readings like this one every Saturday. Alright, that's it for me. This is Snogwritts, signing out.